Probably you get the best reviews of anyone in the administration outside the president. Your thoughts about the U.S.-China standoff right now?
Well, Brian, first of all, it's all the president, especially on the 18 important trading partners. We're doing bespoke deals, and he's going to be intimately involved in every one. 2 weeks ago, when we had the Japanese delegation come in, he started it in the Oval, and then we took them into the negotiating room. So he laid the groundwork, told them personally how important the relationship was, but also how important a fair deal for the American people is.
The first 100 days of Donald Trump's presidency have been nothing short of disastrous. And there's no contest. A new poll released this morning shows Trump with a dismal 33% approval rating, an all-time low. This isn't just a problem with Democrats. Independents are fuming, and even Republicans are turning on him. His billionaire donors are especially irate, feeling the financial hit as Trump's administration continues to falter. His defenders in the MAGA media are also struggling to justify his actions. This tension was on full display today, with Fox News pushing back against the administration, prompting a meltdown in response. We'll dive deeper into all of this, including Carolyn Levitt's press conference. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we can get into Levitt, I want to start with Brian Kilme, who asked this question of Scott Besson to start the morning.
Currently, right now, are you worried about empty shelves? Because they say that a lot of these, the supply lines and the cargo ships are being held up. A lot of people are saying, turn it around with the tariffs this high. I don't want the product. Are you worried about empty shelves?
Not at present. We have some great retailers. I assume they pre-ordered. I think we'll see some elasticities. I think we'll see replacements. And then we will see how quickly the Chinese want to de-escalate.
Empty shelves are coming. There are no ships coming in and out of our ports. We are about to see a terrifying reality as Donald Trump's tariffs really start to kick in. It is going to be an economic catastrophe that does not just play out in the markets, but is very easily observable walking into any Walmart in the country, and it will be only because of Donald Trump. So for Scott Besson to only be able to say, in the current moment, I don't know, just shows that, no, he actually does know. CEOs of Target and Walmart and other big box retailers have been warning the Trump administration about how bad this is getting. And what is their response? Nothing really deflecting and trying to change the subject. And Peter Doocy helped do that. And a question that I want to check out right here before we get to the actual real questions that he surprisingly asked.
One more. After the president's Truth Social post, the Browns finally took Dion Sanders. Does the president think he deserves credit for Sanders getting picked? And does he think going to the Browns is better than being undrafted?
Hey, all I will say is the president put out a statement, and a few rounds later he was drafted. So I think the facts speak for themselves on that one, Peter. We'll go to the back row in the middle, to the blonde.
Markets are still collapsing. They're about to get worse. Donald Trump's approval rating is hitting an all-time low. And he's taking credit that Dion Sanders' son, Shador, was drafted. That's the messaging out of this White House. It is absolute insanity. And if you actually look at the real messaging that they're trying to push right now, it is bragging about their illegal and, quite frankly, unpopular mass deportation plan. And we saw a little bit more of that and some of the questions that were asked of Doocy. But first, we have to start with the question he asked about Donald Trump's trade deals that just aren't coming.
You guys have at least 18 written trade proposals. We still don't know who they are from or what they contain. What is the holdup with that?
There's no holdup. We're working around the clock. The trade team is working all day. I was on the phone late last night with Secretary Lutnick. I was on the phone this weekend as well with Secretary Besson. I mean, the entire team is working 24/7 to get these trade deals done, and I think you'll be hearing more about them this week. I don't want to get ahead of the trade team or the president in announcing potential deals, but certainly I can assure the American public that this administration is full speed ahead in cutting good and fair trade deals on behalf of the American worker.
For Peter Doocy to be pressing this much on Carolyn Levitt is pretty shocking. For him to say, "What's the deal? Where are these deals you promised? Why aren't they coming?" is way more than Peter Doocy is usually willing to do. And we've seen a lot of this from Fox lately, questioning why Donald Trump is allowing his trade war to continue with no conceivable end or goal in mind. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. It is all about Donald Trump coalescing power and ultimately using it to get people to act as he wants. The corruption is always part of it. And that continued when Doocy asked about his criminal attack on judges right here.
Peter, which, by the way, is why we've made many changes to this briefing room in this White House. It's long overdue. Peter, go ahead.
Thank you. A few things. You guys arrested a Milwaukee County Circuit judge for allegedly helping illegal immigrants get away. As you guys look at other judges, would you ever arrest somebody higher up on the judicial food chain, like a federal judge or even a Supreme Court justice?
Well, that's a hypothetical question. Again, I defer you to the Department of Justice for individuals that they are looking at or individual cases, but let's be clear about what this judge did. She obstructed federal law enforcement who were looking for an illegal alien in her courthouse. She showed that illegal alien the door to evade law enforcement officials. That is a clear-cut case of obstruction. You don't have to be a lawyer to understand that. And so anyone who is breaking the law or obstructing federal law enforcement officials from doing their jobs is putting themselves at risk of being prosecuted, absolutely.
What has our country come to that Peter Doocy is the one who has to ask if the administration is willing to arrest a Supreme Court justice? Arrest a Supreme Court justice. Are we? Are we serious? And how do you feel if you're on that Supreme Court? The court that allowed Donald Trump to act with immunity. Now, if you're John Roberts, who Donald Trump has attacked, who has allowed all of this to happen, how are you feeling? Probably pretty scared, right? But this is the current state of things. It is all about intimidation for this administration, and they're making sure no one who has actually broken the law is held accountable in any real way. That was very clear when Carolyn Levitt was asked about Pete Hegseth.
Peter, we'll go to the back row in the middle, to the blonde.
Yes.
Hello.
President Trump has said that Secretary Hegseth will get it together. Does he think that Hegseth doesn't have it together right now?
Look, the president has made his position on Secretary Hegseth quite clear. He absolutely has confidence in the secretary's ability to lead the Pentagon. It's why he nominated him for this position. It's why the Senate voted to confirm him in this position. And look at the success that DOD has had thus far. Their successful operation against the Houthi terrorists in the Middle East. You look at the recruitment and retention levels for all branches of our armed forces are on the incline, which is exactly what this president intended to do. Secretary Hegseth has completely wiped out DEI from the Pentagon as well. And so he's going to remain focused on standing up for our war fighters, on implementing President Trump's peace through strength foreign policy agenda abroad, and the president supports him in his role.
So Pete Hegseth has actually broken the law. I know we talk about the incompetence and stupidity around Signalgate, but there were crimes committed. He was sharing classified military information. Pete Hegseth is violating the codes he's supposed to enforce. And nothing, not even a question. I feel like we've moved on from this too quickly. And I know it's difficult with so many scandals popping up all the time, but Pete Hegseth is a national security threat. He is not only not keeping us safe, but he's putting doubt into the hearts and minds of those serving at home and abroad of whether there's real leadership. If they can trust the people in charge of them, that puts us all at danger. So the fact that we're not talking about this more seems a little crazy to me, but it's kind of all a part of the broader plan. Make sure that Donald Trump's stooges know they're protected so they can use their power to intimidate as much as they can. And Chris Hayes talked about that in context of the judges that the Trump administration is now going after.
The judge was running a pre-trial conference for this man on criminal charges in her court when ICE agents came in without a court warrant issued by a judge. That's a tactic that ICE agents use all the time, but are now using in courthouses across the country, which is new. Basically, daring judges who are used to controlling their courtroom, who's in and who's out, right, to stop them. But there's no question what message they and their partners on Trump TV are trying to convey here.
So when you see these judges trying to obstruct your efforts to make this country safer, what is your message?
They're going to prosecute you, and we are prosecuting you. I found out about this the day it happened. We could not believe, actually, that a judge really did. Looked into the facts in great depth. That's her picture up on the screen, Hannah Dugan, who is now in custody. You cannot obstruct a criminal case, and really, shame on her. They're deranged is all I can think of. I cannot believe, I think some of these judges think they are beyond and above the law, and they are not. And we're sending a very strong message today. If you are harboring a fugitive, we don't care who you are.
Again, even under the facts as alleged in the criminal complaint, I'm not sure harboring a fugitive is true about this judge in question. Pam Bondi putting independent judges on notice. And if the message is still too subtle for you, the flurry of posts from Trump's border czar, Tom Homan, and his Homeland Security advisor, Stephen Miller, should make it clear no one's above the law, don't cross that line. Again, the context here is they see the judiciary and due process and legal protections as competition, as something to vanquish and overcome. This morning, the USA Today obtained and published a copy of the Attorney General Pam Bondi's directive, giving law enforcement power to pursue suspected gang members in ways that absolutely obliterate the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution that, of course, requires warrants for searches. That memo says that under this, somewhat obscure, dubiously invoked 1794 Alien Enemies Act, again, we're not at war, Trump administration says we are, that judicial or administrative arrest warrant is not necessary to apprehend a validated alien enemy. How do you know they're validated alien enemy before you encounter them? That's a great question. It also adds, this authority includes entering an alien enemy's residence to make an apprehension. In plain language, if a cop or a federal officer is on the lookout for Tren de Aragua, a gang you've probably never heard of before the Trump administration decided they were invading us in an act of war, and that cop decides there's a gang member in your house, Pam Bondi says they can just search your house without any warrant at all. Now, it wouldn't be much of an exaggeration to say that fury at the British practice of illegal searches and seizures was the thing that sparked the American Revolution. Trump and Bondi and all of them want to throw those hard-fought rights out the window. Like, they don't like them. They want to destroy them. They're very clear on this. They're clear about all this, right? I mean, they couldn't be clearer. Every single day, Donald Trump and his inner circle are committing impeachable abuses of power. Attempts of establishing a dictatorship, unconstitutional abuses that, at the minimum, were the subject of Richard Nixon's impeachment. For instance, an obsession of using the machinery of the federal government to go after political enemies. 3 times, Trump has now directed Bondi and the Department of Justice to open criminal investigations into people or groups solely for angering him.
Donald Trump knows that he is likely going to continue to lose in the courts. He is certainly losing the battle in the court of public opinion right now. And so he has turned, unsurprisingly, to intimidation. When he said he wanted to be a dictator on day one, did we not think that that included intimidation? That's how he was going to achieve all of this. That's how Donald Trump has always achieved his goals. Now, usually it's done with Republican senators or members of Congress who are spineless and will just go along with him. But now he's trying to scare an independent judiciary into falling in line and bending the knee. And we have to back them. We have to use our agency as the public to make sure that all of these institutions that Donald Trump is going after, whether it be universities, whether it be courts, it doesn't matter. They know that when they stand up to him, they will have our backing, that we will support those who are fighting this administration. We're certainly doing that on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. Until next time, I'll see you soon.